Hell Let Loose has just revealed its next map, Tobruk. Yep, there is another desert map coming finally, and I'm so glad of it as well. So what is the Siege of Tobruk? Well, it's where guts, grit, and a little bit of good fortune made a wild ride during the Second World War. Picture this. The North African desert is heating up. We're just on the border of Libya here as well. In July, the Axis powers, led by Mr. Rommel, aka the Desert Fox, are on the prowl, looking to capture a strategic port. And this is where Tobruk comes in. Who's standing in their way, though? The British Commonwealth forces and mostly Australians. They've made Tobruk their own personal fortress. Talk about a bit of an underdog story, though. So when Rommel decided to lay siege to Tobruk on April 10th, he probably thought it'd be a bit of a piece of cake, but he underestimated the defenses who would turn this place into a fortress. They dug in, fortified their positions, and set up a defense that would make medieval castles somewhat jealous. We're talking barbed wire minefields and a whole lot of Aussie and Brit strength. But hold on to your helmets. Life in Tobruk wasn't all sunshines and rainbows. The Axis forces surrounded them very quickly and supplies began to dwindle. Food was scarce, and there definitely wasn't Angry Birds that they could sort of chill in. They were in the middle of the desert in World War II, probably the worst place you could possibly be other than in a submarine in 2023. The morale started to take a hit, yet the Allies stood firm. Instead, they turned into creative strategies, night raids, surprise attacks that would make even the seasoned technicians raise an eyebrow, like desert ninjas sneaking around and causing absolute mayhem. Being constantly bombarded by artillery shells and rationing the last tin of beans, somehow morale was kept up and somehow the forces managed to hold strong. Then come November, things got a little bit crazier. With fresh reinforcements and a plan in place, the Allies were ready to turn the table, like a plot twist in a movie. On November 27th, after months of back and forth, the siege was finally lifted. Defenders cheer, Axis forces retreat, and it's one big I told you so moment for the Allies. See, the Siege of Tobruk has become sort of a legendary tale of resilience. As I'm saying it as an English person, of course, with so much patriotism that I don't really care about, the Allies emerged not only victorious but with a newfound spirit that would carry them forward in the North African campaign. Tobruk was more than just a city, it became a symbol of tenacity, a place where ordinary soldiers did extraordinary things, proving that when it gets tough, dig in and fight back. So, how does that affect Hell Let Loose? Well, it means that we're going to be getting a hell of a siege on our hands. There's going to be fighting in urban areas, there's obviously going to be a bit more desert as well, and we're going to be back in North Africa. Now, we can already see from their teaser that there's going to be so much more urban fighting, which I think is so important for Hell Let Loose because, El Alamein, its biggest issue was there wasn't enough urban environments. There wasn't really enough to dig into. And every time you'd run across an open plains, you'd get shot from some tank or sniper on the hill because there were so many snipers on the hills. And it was just not a fun experience, which is why they changed a lot of the actual mechanics of Hell Let Loose. And there was a lot of, lashing back because of it. But they haven't done that this time. Tobruk is going to be something completely different. Now, we have very little information about what it's actually going to be, but it is our first sort of city, our port city, and of course set in Libya. It's going to be a different sort of area of the war that's only been kind of delved into in El Alamein, but it's not really a map on rotation anymore. So, hey, hopefully they manage to revitalize the African front because I'd really love to see that, especially since they put a lot of effort into reworking the British and having some camo skins that work in desert. Now, when is it going to come? Well, it's going to come in early 2025, which isn't ideal, I'm going to be honest. It's quite a bit of a wait, but hence this is just a small little teaser. For now, we've got Elsenborn Ridge. That's going to be the next map that should be coming by the end of the year, and that's going to be back in the snowy battlefield, a little bit like Foy. Think of it like that, but no, it's just going to be Foy 2.0, let's be honest. As far as I'm aware, I think Elsenborn Ridge was part of the Battle of the Bulge as much as Foy was, so we're going to be getting a lot of similar stuff there. However, in the new year, we're going back to Africa.